You need to start recording.
Recording in progress.
All right, so on or about 6:30 on January 8, 2024, bring this meeting of Conservation Commission to order. This also will be recorded by audio and video as well. Can I get a roll call vote?
Vincent present.
Crossman present.
He's here. Stadia present. All right, guys, so we'll bring the first order of business. And this is going to be public hearings, and this is going to be 40 Prospect Street for an NOI for floodplain alteration.
So this afternoon, they requested a continuance to January 29th.
All right, so simple enough. All right, so we'll be continuing 40 Prospect Street. Can I get a second?
Second. Crossman second.
All right, Crossman second. Roll call vote.
Vincent, aye.
Crossman aye.
Spady aye. All right, next one. It's going to be 59 Pond Street for an NOI for removal of a 10 by 10 area of a metal contaminated soil.
Jim is coming up now.
All right.
Good evening, folks.
Hello, Jim.
Jim Barback
yourself in the
with OHI Engineering. We filed a notice of intent to excavate about 7 cubic yards, roughly 10 tons of soil that we found on the property that contains metals above the reportable concentrations. We use a lot of acronyms in this business, so I'm going to call them RCs from here on out, just to be upfront. We did the assessment work as part of conveyance of this property to the trustees of reservations. So that was, we went out, did some environmental assessment work, reviewed the history of the property, did a series of shallow soil borings, collected a bunch of samples, and one of the samples contain these metals over the reportable concentrations. That triggers a 120-day notification requirement per the Mass Contingency Plan, the MCP. That notification period starts the day the owners became aware of it. The 120th day is March the 1st. The Mass Contingency Plan allows the excavation of small quantities of soil within the reporting period under what's called a limited removal action. And if the LRA is successful in reducing remaining concentrations below the RCs within the 120-day period, then a formal notification to Mass DEP is not required. So it's our plan to conduct this work as an LRA within the 120-day notification period. We had submitted the NOI back, I guess, early December, had gotten a staff report and made some changes based on the comments there. That's been provided both to the town and to the state. I do have a plan. Would it help if I called that up?
Sure.
Yeah, great.
I'm assuming y'all can see that.
Yes.
So here's the property, big scale, and the soil is right in this area. We have access through an existing trail. It goes over this cut granite block, culvert, spillway, call it whatever you will. Some of the concerns that we had gotten were about bringing a dump truck over there. So what we're planning to do is to use a mini excavator, take that out to the excavation site. We use the trail. There is an area where they're going to have to go off trail. Been there with the contractor, no big trees, nothing really would be disturbed to get to the excavation area. And then we'd also bring a skid steer over there as well. What we plan to do is use the mini excavator to excavate the soil. The mini excavator would load the bucket on the skid steer. We'd have plastic down on the ground at that transfer point to protect against spillage. Skid steer would drive out to the street where we would load a dump truck. We'd also have plastic on the ground, poly on the ground at that transfer point as well. We're figuring about 5 or 6, maybe 7 trips with the skid steer would be required. The particular procedures, step by step, once we install the sediment barrier, do the excavation, take it out to the truck. The truck will leave to the disposal facility. It's likely to go to a site in New Hampshire. We're not planning any overnight stockpiling. It's basically 1 day of work to do the excavation, load the truck and get that off the property. We're not planning any overnight stockpiling. We collect some confirmatory samples because, as I mentioned, we need to prove that we're under the RCs within the 120-day period. At the time after the excavation work is complete, we decon the equipment on the plastic that we have that will be disposed. Plan to backfill the excavation with loam, spread a little wildflower seed, and then there's a lot of leaf duff out there. Just basically rake the area out and stabilize it. And that, we're figuring about a day and a half or so of total field time to complete the work. And that's the end of my presentation. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jim. Jen, do you have anything to add to this before I get on to a question I have?
Just one quick little thing. Jim, can you scroll down a little bit to see the scale of the plan? It still looks off to me.
This scale, I believe, relates to this piece right here.
Oh, you are all the way down.
I can zoom in a bit.
So is that a 1:40 scale?
No, I think it's 1 inch equals 40 feet.
I think it might be 1 inch equals 20 feet. When I was using the scale, the 30 was off a little bit.
I can't answer that and confirm one way or another, but if you want us to modify the plan with the appropriate graphic scale on there, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Got it.
I'm good, Mike. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Jim, what time of year do you plan on doing this? If this was all did you have a time frame?
As soon as we possibly can get out there.
I was just a little concerned about just erosion issues with the skid steer going back so many times. I don't know, Jen, if you had any thought on that or any issues as well.
I think what's likely if we just go forward from today, assuming, as we hope, you will vote to approve and issue an order, we're probably about 30 days out before, or more, I guess, before we can do that. So we're into the early part of February. We're likely to have some frost, probably not a whole ton, because it's in an area with a lot of leaf matter. As I mentioned, it kind of helps keep the deep frost away. We are capable of doing this work with the frost, so I think that's going to help stabilize things. It's a rubber tracked machine. No metal tracks going out there. I wouldn't expect that. The trail has been certainly used in the past. I don't think we'd have any issue there.
Okay. And then in terms of the contaminated waste going toward so you're going to show us appropriate documentation that's been going to the right facility and being disposed of correctly, and also the equipment being decontaminated correctly.
We would have, it's likely to go under what's the disposal tracking paperwork under either a material shipping record or a bill of lading. So we'd have all that documented.
Okay, excellent. And then kind of for Nate and Al, do you guys want markers on this, or what are you guys thinking? Just kind of loop you guys in real quick.
I do not have an opinion on markers.
Same here.
Okay. I mean, I kind of didn't think it was the worst idea, but
For that one little area compared to the entire site, it's probably not, something that you need to do on this one.
okay, cool. All right.
Thanks.
And then you gotta leave it up to Nate now. Do you guys have anything to add or ask? I'll leave it to you guys.
No further questions.
Al, you're on mute, I think, bud. It's like new computer.
I'm interested in knowing why you're not gonna put down, the plastic around the area of excavation, is why the buckets are gonna have stuff that's not gonna stay in the bucket when you dislodge the soil. I think there's a good chance of, a lot of it or some of it falling off, at least initially, as they start to dig it out.
Well, we'll be there with an operator and a laborer. If something falls into the excavation area, that can be shoveled in and then re-excavated with the mini excavator. It's really the place where we would see the potential for spillage is going to be at the transfer point. That transfer point from the mini excavator bucket into the skid steer bucket, we'd have protected with poly. So there'd be quite a bit of poly down there. We're not going to be able to use just one small sheet for that. It'd cover a fairly wide area.
I guess I'm still not 100% convinced in the answer. I did a lot of heavy equipment in Vietnam, and I'm used to front end loaders, the use of front end loaders and all other types of heavy equipment. And I think there's a good chance when you come out of that pit or you start bringing it up from that pit, if you can dig that deeply, that you're going to have spillage out of the area to be excavated.
So the excavation is about 2 feet deep is all. So it's a very, very shallow dig. We're not excavating a lot of material at any one time. The skid steer or the mini excavator might have a half-yard bucket, something like that. We're talking small
So it's
quantity
14
here.
trips?
So it'll be, the skid steer has a 1 yard bucket,
Okay,
hence the
10 trips.
the 6 trips or 7 trips. The mini excavator has a smaller bucket than that. So as the excavator is digging, it would not move. It's just going to rotate 180 degrees and load the bucket on the skid steer. So we're not traveling back and forth with any material in the bucket of the mini excavator. That excavator is just going to rotate 180 degrees, load the bucket on the skid steer. That area will all be covered with poly. The skid steer goes off to load the truck out on Pond Street.
So you will have plastic down in that area
Yes, sir.
of the excavation? Okay.
At
That's
the
all.
excavation
Thank you.
and where we load the dump truck.
Yep, no, I understood the first. I missed the part about the excavation area. Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm
I
sorry.
did the same too, Al, so good. I'm happy to hear that. And there's nothing, Jen, to condition, right, to furthermore protect that. I know it's kind of a sensitive thing. Maybe we don't want that to.
Only if there's a catch basin right where they're gonna offload.
Sure.
But we do have a number of boilerplate conditions about erosion and setback control that we'll go over at pre-construction meeting.
Okay, so we're good. Excellent. All right, so I will throw this to. Oh, actually, sorry, Al, you all set?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. All right, guys, I will throw this to public comment. I don't think I'm seeing any. All right, Jim, would you like to close?
I'm good.
You're good. Excellent. All right. Yeah, all right. I will do a motion to close the hearing for 59 Pond Street. Did I get a second? Is that Al second?
Benson, second.
Excellent. Can I get a roll call vote?
Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right. And then Jen will help with that. Here, what do you want? Condition. Jesus.
Yeah, the next, yeah, you mean the
What
next,
should I do?
yeah, it's just a motion to approve the draft Order of conditions, permit for work.
Cool. All right, so moved.
What's up? Crossman, second.
Beautiful. All right, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right, Jim, you're good to go.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
When do you think we'll get the order?
Jen?
If we have 21 days to issue the permit after the close of the public hearing, it's
Yep.
usually done within 1 or 2.
Perfect.
I would expect it this week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, folks. Have a great evening.
Thank you, you too.
Good night.
All right, so next up is 18 Summer Street. This is also an NOI for upgrade of a residential septic system.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
And see, Peter, introduce yourself for the record and good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm on a different computer tonight, so bear with me.
Different room, too.
Yeah, I'm stuck in the office tonight. Yeah, so for the record, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group, representing the property owner at 18 Summer Street. I'm gonna pull the plan up. If someone could confirm we're looking at it.
Yes.
Awesome. So we're here tonight. This is a notice of intent for the repair of an existing residential septic system. This is at the corner of Summer Street and Pammies Path. Quick overview of the property. On the southern portion of the lot, we have a BVW, the associated 50 and 100 foot buffers shown on the plan. And to the west, across Pammies Path, we have a potential vernal pool with the 102 foot buffer, 200 foot buffer shown in the blue. Basically, our plan here is to maximize our distance to both resources, which puts the proposed leaching field and septic tank in the front yard. Kind of poor soils and high groundwater out here, so it's going to be coming up a couple feet above existing grade. We've basically done everything we can to maximize the distance, pushed it 10 feet up to the street layout, which is the minimum. Couple quick numbers on this. From the potential vernal pool, the proposed system is 129 feet. That's to the corner of the leaching field. And it looks like 87 feet to the closest corner to wetland flag 4. We've provided filter mitt sedimentation control starting at the northern corner of the house, wrapping around the stockpile locations and the proposed work. We've extended the erosion control into the backyard to accommodate the decommissioning of the existing septic tank that will be pumped and filled with a clean material as part of this project. That in the old leaching field will be abandoned in place. We've provided 4 conservation markers shown on the plan by the dark circles. These are going to be staked out in the field prior to construction, along with our erosion control lines. Let's see. Those are basically right along the existing edge of lawn. As mentioned, we got soil stockpiling. It's going to be up front, outside the 100-foot buffer to the wetland. Dewatering location is shown in the front yard, as well as details for that up on the plan. Silt sacks are proposed up near the intersection and southwest down Pammies Path for a total of 3 of those. Site is not in an ACEC. That's the recap. Any questions or concerns from the commission on this one?
Thanks, Peter. Jen, did we end up getting the DEP file number?
We did. We got it today, I think. The number 152-1800.
Sweet. Cool. So I don't really have anything. That looks awesome, Peter. And Jen, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Just that there might have been some old compost filling near the wetland, WF 9 and 10. So there may be a condition to take a look at that during construction. That's it.
Agree with that? Cool. Nate, now, anything from you guys?
All set.
Nothing to add.
Sounds great. I'll leave this to public comment. Anything from you? Seeing none. All right, Peter, would you like to close?
Yes, please.
Excellent. All right, so motion to close 18 Summer.
Second,
All right, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right, so the motion for this, Jen?
Yes, motion to issue the order of conditions and permit for work as drafted.
So moved.
Crossman, second.
Beautiful. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right, Peter, you're good, man.
All right, thank you all.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. See you.
All right, on to continued hearings. We're moving through it. All right,
Yeah.
so 39 Blackfoot Road. This is also for an NOI for a septic system replacement.
Correct. We continued the 12-4 meeting just for a file number, and then our 12-18 meeting, we didn't have power and from the storm. So just waiting for the file number. We have that now. We can close the public hearing, and you have the file number on your agenda.
All right, so just a motion to close 39 Blackfoot.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right. Next up is 102 Eastman Street. This
I have
is,
to vote first, sorry.
with that, let's go back.
So you
Go
closed
back.
the public hearing, so now you just need a motion to issue
Yes.
draft order of conditions permit for.
So moved. I was gonna say that.
Crossman, second.
Excellent. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. Okay, now 102 Eastman Street. This is also for NOI for improvements to a liquefied natural gas storage facility, including construction, restoration of buildings.
Yes, this afternoon they requested a continuance to the January 29th meeting.
All right, so we're going to be continuing 102 Eastman to January.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes.
They've done that so many times to us. Isn't there a procedure that after so many no-shows that, we can put them on, or we won't schedule them until they, swear they'll be here or have a surety bond that they'll be here?
Yeah, there's
There's a lot
not
of ways to
anything
do
like
it.
that. They have to approve the continuance. But at the last meeting, they got the peer reviewers letter, who only had maybe 2 small items. Well, they had one last item to address, and we got that last week. So I'm reasonably confident they'll be ready at the next meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks for following up.
Okay, so you have a motion,
Yes, motion to close. No, right, motion to close. Sorry, threw me off.
continue to January 29th.
Yes, continue January 29th.
Benson, second.
All right. Oh, Crossman, I'm waiting. That's right. Roll call.
Roll call.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
80 aye. All right.
Just keep talking. We'll do the seconds and the votes.
Yes,
Keep
thank you.
throwing them out there.
I'm good.
Got it. Got it. We're good.
All right, now we're on. You have request for extensions?
20 Meeting House Lane.
20 out. Okay, 20 House Meeting House Lane. That's also for an NOI for a septic repair.
Correct. They also requested a continuance today to January 29th.
All right, so 20 Meeting House Lane is going to be continued to January 29th. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. And then just make a motion to continue 20 Meeting House Lane to January 29th, next meeting.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're good.
You did it already. Didn't you already do it?
All right, that was the whole
You
thing.
did, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we're on here. All right, now we're for request for extension, and this is going to be 9 Rudin Way. This is for. What are we looking? Oh, order of conditions for construct a single-family home and road wide. Yeah.
I kind of expected them to be here. Peter was here and then left.
Will they be here?
So they gave you the list of items that they've done.
Right.
It's been almost 3 years. They haven't done any of the wetland portion yet. And so it's my recommendation that you have a surety before you extend the existing permit. I asked them for an estimate of the construction costs. There were 2 items: planting mitigation, monitoring for 3 years. Their estimate was $375, which I said was way too low.
Yeah.
And an as-built plan for $500, which is also not reasonable. They did give a revised estimate. Yeah, I do. The revision they gave us, 3 years of monitoring, was $750. And an as-built plan for $800. I don't think those are reasonable estimates on those 2. The other ones, all the other items, replacing the sediment control, the plants for trees and shrubs, the labor, wetland creation area B, signage, they might be a little low, but I could kind of go along with those. Those other 2 are just not, not within the ballpark of a reasonable cost. So, I can keep working with them offline. But I don't know that we want this to go until the next meeting, because it's 3 weeks away.
Right.
So, you could make a motion to issue an extension and say for how long. You have 1 to up to 3 years.
Okay.
You can say, they didn't ask, so you can say how long for the extension, provided that the surety is agreed upon and submitted. Which means that'll give me some time to finish having that discussion with them. Hopefully we'll come to a reasonable price. They'll be able to issue the extension so that they have a valid permit. That should work.
I think that's fair. I mean, I don't know what they know.
That seems fair to me.
Right?
After they have taken no action for 3 years, we gotta find a way to put some teeth into getting them stirred up a little bit, some movement.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Just too long.
it's one of those older permits that was issued.
No,
The
that's
wording
good.
we use in our permits now is quite a bit stronger.
All right, so surety it is. Do we have to make a motion to do that?
Yeah, you definitely need a motion, and your motion could be to issue the extension provided that the surety agreement is signed and the surety amount is agreed upon and posted before we issue the extension.
So moved.
You can say
Don't
that.
look at that. Right on, Alan.
Crossman second.
Beautiful. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye?
Crossman aye.
Spady, aye. All right, sweet. So on to the next one. And now we're on to certificate of compliance. So we have 159 Belmont Street. This is for request for certificate of compliance. Simple as that.
Yes, this is one of those old projects where we have no idea what was done. I don't have any plans. I don't have a file. I didn't have a copy of the order of conditions. The attorney sent it to me. It literally told me nothing about the project. But I did a site inspection. There are no violations, so
Cool.
it's the best you're gonna get.
All right, so motion to issue a full COC
Yes.
for 159 Belmont Street. Can I get a second?
Second.
Sweet, roll call vote.
Benson, aye?
Crossman aye.
Spady, aye. Excellent. So the next one would be 5559 Pond Street. We're gonna take that together as one, correct?
You can.
So we'll take the 2 as the 1.
They already have partial certificates of compliance. It was for restoration work in a house that was never constructed. These are also both parcels that are being purchased by the town. And so that work is not going to continue in the future. This is to clear the title, so the property can be purchased with clear title. So okay for a full certificate of compliance on both of those.
All right, so, Al, yeah, good?
Good here.
Good. Yeah, that's
So, let's do it. So 55.
Hold on, I have to write this down as you do.
Keep
So
talking.
I'm assuming your motion was to
Yes.
issue both of those.
So moved. That's it. We're
Mike, and did you say Al?
You get a
Yes.
second? There you go.
Okay.
All vote.
Benson, I.
Rossman, aye.
Yeah. Cool.
Good, thank you.
All right, on to enforcements. So, do you want to go down the line of this, Jen? Or you want me to just name them off too?
Two of the people who are supposed to be here tonight are here, so I'm going to
Okay.
promote
All right.
Paul for 5 Jonathan Drive.
Excellent. Hey, Paul, we can hear you, Paul. Can you just put up your video so we can see you? That'd be great.
Oh, let me just put a light on.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, can you see me? No?
Not yet, no. Yeah, if you hit that little, should be that start or stop video button on the bottom left corner of the screen.
Start my video, hit that?
There you go.
Thank you.
Good.
Oh,
There you are.
hello.
All right, Paul, if you could just introduce yourself for the record, we'd love to hear you.
My name's Paul Marino. I reside at 5 Jonathan Drive.
All right, Paul. Jen, do you want to take that away, or is Paul gonna?
I mean, I can do a little recap. So there's a violation at the property where the stream had been dredged, and LEC Environmental Consultants had been hired to come up with a restoration plan. The restoration plan was supposed to have started last summer. You know, there was some confusion Mr. Marino had about when he could start. So late in the fall, he was notified, yes, he should begin. And so we're here for an update tonight on where we are and how soon this is going to be wrapped up.
All right, Paul. So how are we doing with the project?
Good. First of all, I want to apologize to the commission for working in conservation land. My intent wasn't to disrupt anything. It was only to clean up the property. There's 5 culverts that come into on my property, and there was a intermittent stream that would run down into the old flyaway pond. My intent was to clean up the trash that had gathered, and also just to get the intermittent stream to flow, because over the years rocks had come down and it wasn't as it was intended. So I did that without permission, and I apologize. So I did it with a shovel. I didn't use anything, any heavy equipment or anything. And and Jennifer was excellent. She was very professional. She told we hired the specialist, and I was told I had to put some rocks back. I did that up along the culvert, closer to it, because just common sense is the water has to flow downhill. So I can only have a small pitch. And I was meticulous in taking the rocks out, and I was meticulous in putting the rocks back. And I don't think I can put more back, because then the water won't run downhill as it was intended to do.
So Paul, the water is running downhill. All
Yes.
the rocks do need to be put back into the stream. And, once all the rocks are back in, I mean, these are large-ish rocks, certainly movable by hand, but once those are all put back in, as the water flows downstream, it will start to catch the smaller material and it'll fill back in, rather than filling the stone and all the soil back in. So All of the rocks do need to go back in. The plume of soil at the end of the stream going into Flyaway Pond also needs to be removed. Those are both items in the restoration plan. And so the commission is looking for when is that going to be
There's
done.
a plume, I don't understand. At the end, it.
Whole bunch of dirt dumped in the wetland. So that all does need to
I
be.
didn't do that.
The stream did that when all of the rocks and the soil
Right.
were. Yes, so that all has to be cleaned up. That is a violation. That's part of the restoration plan and something we went over on the property.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we'd like to see get done. I mean, you know, you're obviously removing it, it has to go back the same way as it was there as it came out, it needs to go back the same way it goes in, so.
Right. Well, I did put some back.
Right.
And,
I'm more looking for like all of it back.
okay.
You know,
We
just bring
understand it was a
back-
mistake, Paul. We certainly appreciate that. It was a mistake. That's okay. We're just trying to, have the mistake corrected and just
Yeah.
put all the rocks back in, put everything back the way it was.
Okay. Not an issue.
Okay. And is that something that you feel you're able to do yourself, or do you need to hire someone at this point?
No, I'll do it myself. You know, might be a little difficult with the snow or the weather conditions coming up, but I'll get to it next week.
Yeah, do we have a,
You know,
Jen, did you have a time frame yourself that you would like to see? I mean, I would like to see it done within the month of January personally.
agreed.
Yeah, Paul, if you can do that, that'd be really helpful to us, and we really
Absolutely. I'll let
And
you.
you got some good weather on your side in terms of going into the weekend and following weeks, so should be okay.
Yep, we're on the same page.
Excellent. Happy to hear it.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
You
As
too.
well.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
And Jen, there's nothing we need to do in terms of a vote or anything like that, right, for enforcement, we're good? Okay.
No, we're still trying to do things without revising enforcement orders if we don't need to. So,
Sure. Cool. All right, so on to now 80 Short Street.
okay, and Mr. Bogner is here as well. So I'm just
Excellent.
gonna him.
Hey, James, you can just unmute yourself there and just put up your video. It'd be awesome.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me,
Yes.
Jamie? Wait, no,
Okay,
just-
I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
No, if you just pop up your video too, that'd be great.
Let's see how I do that.
Be bottom right hand or left hand corner of your screen there. Little video.
Okay, I got you.
Perfect.
Start my video.
That's the one.
All right.
Hey,
Good
James.
evening.
Anyone. Good evening. You could just introduce yourself, James, to the record. Would be thank you.
My name is James Bogner. I live at 80 Short Street.
All right, thank you, James. So I guess Jennifer want to kind of give us a little takeaway or
Yes, this was something that started before I got here. When I started about 2.5 years ago, I think there was an order of conditions for a restoration area to pull some soil out of the wetland and then out of the buffer zone and to replant. And this has been an ongoing violation. We do a number of check-ins during the year. It's hard to say how much has happened at the property. I think you had the engineer go back and look at the elevations, correct? And then he did mention that a lot more soil needs to be removed. They did remove the piles of compost from the back, so that's helpful, but the soil still needs to be removed and area to be replanted. And then last summer, a new patio went down on the property right in the buffer zone without permits. So that's a second violation there, Jim. So could you update us on where you are and when we can expect all of this work to be done, please?
Part of the project was, I guess we were responsible to remove everything that was in the wetlands. People threw brush in there over years and time. We did take all that out. We did not put it in there, but we did take it all out. There was a bunch of other stuff that was piled up in the back of the property, old cut down wood. We had to remove all that. We did take all the soil out. We removed all the soil. We did have, we ordered the soil, we ordered the seed. We took, what we did is we put down road millings about 4 inches behind the fence, about 8 feet wide. And we did it at the length of the fence. So that's what the violation was. We did that just so we could service the fence, but obviously we were unaware that we were causing a problem. So yes, we are on board to correct everything. So we did remove all that. Me and Jennifer have been back and forth, coming out, having a couple meetings here and there, complying to whatever we had to do. Affordability was a little bit of a struggle between hiring an engineering at the beginning. That was a lot of money. Then getting somebody to go inside the wetlands to remove all the debris that was in there. That was a task, and it took a while to get that stuff out of there, and it took time. It took time to save money for the dirt. The dirt was in all this. You know, so all that took a little time, and so as we were going along, we were keeping Jennifer aware of what was going on. We wasn't hiding anything. We wasn't doing anything what we wasn't supposed to do. We ran out of time. It got a little cold. We ran out of money because once we would have to lay down the soil, then we would have to purchase the plants. Purchasing the plants, me and my wife started adding that up. That was thousands and thousands of dollars that had to be planted once we put the soil down. We couldn't afford to do that at that time. And that was, I don't know, 3-4 months ago at that point, right after we bought the soil. Right after we bought the soil, I did have Jen come out to the property. She said the engineer had to come back out. The next day, the engineer was there. He said there was only 2 spots that I had to bring up a little bit, actually, not take any more out. I had to bring up a couple spots. We corrected those spots. Then it was time to plant, and then we just couldn't afford to buy the plants at that point. That's that project. On the cement, the violation for the patio. Inside the fence, and I've sent some pictures and all that stuff to Jen. We did, after the violation was ordered to us, I did apply for a permit with the town for the patio. Sent all the information to the building department. The building department came back saying the permit was not required to do what we did. So I can.
For the, yeah, you're in the buffer zone though, and
Well, we were inside our fence.
that does not matter. Any activity.
Well,
with
you asked me to apply for a permit, and we did.
A wetland permit.
I thought you said a building department.
I would never tell anybody.
I wasn't sure.
A building
Again, I'm
permit. That's
confused.
not my
This is my first-
jurisdiction. This is a
This is our
wetland.
first time. This is our first time.
You are
going through
aware
stuff
that
like this.
you're aware that you're in the buffer zone, and any activity requires permits from the conservation commission.
So even inside my fence area, inside where my, okay.
Well, you were grading and you put down all new impervious surface, so yes, it's an activity in the buffer zone that requires a permit from the conservation commission.
Okay, so I applied for a permit for the wrong, and I will do that. I'll
Yeah.
start that tomorrow if I need to do that. So that's where we are. I mean, we plan on spring, putting everything, saving some money over the winter to get all the plants we're gonna need. We have the soil here, we have the seed here. Before we obviously lay that out, we'll have the engineer come back out, make sure he's happy with everything, so we can report to you guys, and that's our plan.
Okay, so the pile of soil that's on site, that's the loam you're gonna put down.
Yes,
Okay, so you just need to purchase the plants,
yes.
and you're looking at a installation of all of that.
Once it's proper, I mean, once, I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on plants and them not grow, because I know, so what is it, like, it's March, late March, I'm not sure when's the best time to plant.
You could probably plant maybe in April. It depends on when the nursery will have all your plants.
Right.
But I would say probably April.
yeah, at least better success.
Can we talk about the,
April's a good time to check in again.
Yeah,
Okay,
so can we get back to the patio for a second?
sure.
The patio was put down just because it was a liability. The patio was, the reason why I did put down the patio in the pictures, it was a huge liability with me and my family. People were falling into that area, so it was not for structural at all. It was just to make it clean and safe and so we could walk on it, you know, in that area. Patio was put down.
Again,
So
any
the next step on the-
activity for whatever purpose, you do need to get the permit for it.
Okay, so I have to apply to a permit through your office.
Correct.
Okay.
excellent.
Okay,
All right. So Jenny, you're good? You needed?
Yes.
excuse me?
No, I was just making sure Jen was all set. Nate, now, do you have anything you guys want to ask or add?
No, sounds good. So April, check in again in April. Plan time.
Yeah, come anytime, I'll check in. Awesome.
Sounds good to me.
What's that, sorry?
I said, that sounds good to me.
Awesome. Well, James, we appreciate the update, and obviously Jen will be in contact with you, and you can obviously apply for that right permit, and we'll get you on the right track.
Appreciate the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jim?
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. So next up is 230 Main Street.
Yes, the last letter we gave them, enforcement letter, gave them until, the December 18th meeting. We didn't have that meeting. And we issued an enforcement order, so we just need to ratify the enforcement order with a vote from you guys.
Okay. So just voting to ratify the enforcement order.
Yep.
Get it. Second, guys. Someone.
I think that was Nate.
I'm going with it. Nate, second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Benson, aye?
Crossman eye.
Bailey, aye. Awesome.
Okay, so they do have a consultant now. That person has called and said she would be able to get the restoration plan done and submitted by the January 29th meeting.
Awesome.
So that was the date I put on the enforcement order.
Sweet. Cool. So right track. Good stuff. All right,
Good.
next, 42 Randall.
42 Randall, by December 11th, he was to have all the plants done at the riverfront area, restoration area. All of that work was done, so he is now in compliance with the enforcement order. And so, yes, they're in much better shape now.
Great. All right. 346 Foundry.
346, they did plant the wetland restoration, riverfront restoration area. I did the site inspection with the homeowners, and I did give them a release letter, so they're all set.
Awesome. 153 Bay Road.
153 Bay Road, they cut and cleared some trees and vegetation that are actually on more of a conservation restriction area between housing and condo areas. And they did have a surveyor go and survey the property. I met with property owners. They do understand where the property line is. They understand that they need to plant 43 trees and shrubs, and in the spring they will make sure I have a list of plants that they will be planting, and then we'll check back in again in the spring.
Perfect. All right, last but not least, 24 Summer.
24 Summer, I don't hear a whole lot from them, but recently there's no response to letters for updates and compliance. But recently an engineer had asked about the project, and I understand that the property owner is now, yes, going to apply for permits and look at restoration. So if we don't hear anything from them by the next meeting, then we would have to do an enforcement order, but I understand something may be coming, so
Fingers crossed. Good stuff.
I would give it till the next meeting and see how it goes.
Okay, well done. All right, board discussion. And our first fun one, Allen Road, got 2 new parcels, maybe possibly, or maybe buying. Let's
I
see.
think we talked about this early in December, the first meeting in December. It looked like there might have been 4 parcels and there was a map, but we weren't sure what the property owners were looking for in terms of price. And so I contacted the property owner. They said only 2 of the parcels are something they want to sell at the moment. And they gave $95,000 and $125,000 for the lots that they are interested in selling. Both of them have significant amount of wetland.
Yes.
If you wanted to pursue it further, we might need an appraisal for either of the property, but you definitely do not have that amount of funding available in your budgets.
I will tell you, Alan, Nate, I've been out in that property through my years, and it is extremely wet. You can even see it coming down. If you're going downtown to the left, you would definitely see the water coming in through it. It is very thick and deep in there. So not a lot we could personally do with it. So I mean, for us to purchase it, I don't see it probably being maybe the right direction. So we don't have the money to do it anyway. But I don't really see it being our best choice. You guys obviously have a say on it. So
How many acres is that, please? The 2 of them?
I probably wrote it on the last agenda,
want me to, here, I can tell you that. If you give me like
but
one,
write it on this one.
I do the rough call real quick. Hold on, let's see. That is probably. Do you remember their last name? The owners? Does it start with an F?
Yes.
That one parcel's 19.13. And then.
Is that the bigger one that's probably not for sale? I think these 2
Is that
are
what it, okay.
relatively
So
small.
So then the other ones are probably much smaller now. Here we go. It's this one. It is, 4.91. So yeah, it's very small. Am I wrong, you think, John? Or is that right? Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
That's
Yeah,
his
thank
name.
you.
So, yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's tiny. I mean, it's a very wet spot. So, and the borderlands are right there too. Like, we're kind of covered, but
They're all, it's pretty wet, those parcels. I was thinking about the conservation land tax credit. So there's a program through Division of Conservation Services, I think, somewhere through the state, where they can apply for tax credit if they donate property. And they can use it on multiple years. So that might be something I suggest to them if you have decided, you're not really interested in purchasing either of those 2 properties. The large parcel that's in the back, I think we would take another look at when it gets closer.
that's the 19.5 one I just.
There's upland and wetland,
Yes.
upland on that as well. This is mostly wetland, and I'm not sure that either of them could be developed.
Cool. So I'm okay with passing on them. Alan, able to speak for you guys. But
Yeah. Same.
pass up. We got the pass. So we will respectfully pass on those 2 properties. Is that a vote, or that was all you needed?
Yep, that's okay. That's good.
Cool. All right. So what is next? Wetland regs.
Wetland regs.
The fun stuff.
Um,
This is a Rory Ben
we got
thing.
many comments from that, and it doesn't look like anybody's here for it, but we got a thank you from one person.
Okay. I'm listening. This is good.
And then this afternoon, I did get an email from Eric Diaz from Strong Point Solutions. So he can't attend the meeting, but wanted to send a quick note in support. This document is much cleaner and more straightforward. If I had one comment, it's in regard to the 21-day waiver. I've seen this in other towns, and it tends to make applicants, especially their legal counsel, nervous. They tend to take it as a license for the commission to push the matter out open-endedly. Although the language says the next scheduled hearing, the inevitable questions become when is it and what if it gets canceled? I found that if the commission can put a cap on it within 45 days or the like, applicants tend to be more comfortable. Just a note. So Wetland Protection Act says you have to hold a hearing within 21 days of them submitting the application. Now, most people do file according to the filing deadlines. Some come in a bit earlier. Technically, our hearing schedule might be further than 21 days. So if somebody was really upset about something, they could appeal that. It would be years or more. So at least, 6 to 9 months with DEP to get an appeal. So that's not an attractive option for most people. And most towns do now have a 21-day waiver where they say, hey, look, you filed, it's going to be like 26 days or 28 days. That's not our meeting schedule. So please sign a waiver. You can request it, you can't require it.
Okay. So we're in the right spot, what we're asking for.
I think he's just saying, can we make sure that, it's not open-ended. You don't go on forever.
I got it. Sure.
But our hearing schedule is every 2 or 3 weeks, depending on which month it is. That shouldn't be an issue. I mean, if the meeting gets canceled, it gets canceled no matter when they filed or if they signed the waiver or not. I mean, you can't have a meeting if you don't have a quorum. There's nothing you can do on that. The suggestion within 45 days, when you start contradicting the timeframes from Wetland Protection Act to the local bylaw, it gets confusing. And you can't just say, all right, well, we could suggest 45 days. You still have to meet 21 days, no matter what.
Regardless. It's not
I'd say we keep it.
Right. I kind of feel like I feel the same way, 100%. You good?
Those were the only comments that we
I
got.
agree.
So,
Just on mute.
Cool. I'm just making sure. I feel like you always got one for it, so just want to. Cool.
Town council only recommended that instead of including the checklist as an appendix, just take them out completely and just put a note in the regulations that say, filing requirements according to the office. Which I thought, well, actually that's a lot better, because if we change one thing, then we have to have a public hearing and we have to talk about it again, whereas these are just mostly office requirements anyway, and it would be easier to change if they weren't part of the regs.
I like that.
Yeah, so we can remove. I would remove some of the appendices, and then I just have to reword those paragraphs to not reference the appendix. Any other comments on the regs? Okay. And again, this is just simplified. There's no content changes. This is just making it so you can actually read the document. It went from 87 pages or something like that to 28.
Perfect. So nice.
It's making it so you can read it.
So nice. Should I open this to public comment or right now, or?
Yep, it's
So I will open this to
Hearing.
public comment. Anyone like to ask or say any comments? Do you not think we're seeing any? So we are good. Do we nothing to vote on? We're all set, right? This is just a.
yes, you vote on it.
Oh, you do vote on it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be vote to propose. What's that?
Approve the amendments.
Approve amendments. Okay, so vote to approve amendments for wetland regulations.
Crossman second.
Second.
Crossman the second. Get a roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman aye.
ADI. Great, awesome. That's a good one. Great.
Okay.
Next one's the meeting minutes. I'm sure Al's knocked it out of the park for us, so let's get to the point.
I'd like to make a motion that the meeting minutes for December 4th be accepted as amended.
Second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman aye.
ADI. Sweet, and I have no updates. We're at share updates. So.
Yeah, I'm good.
I will only have a
And I took
couple.
an awesome hike today. Let's put it that
We know
way.
who's slowing. At least we know who's slowing us down now.
I just have a couple.
Sure, go for it.
So we got the letter from MACC that they're raising the dues again, which they pretty much do every year. So the dues for the Conservation Commission will be $738 to be a member. So it's just so you're aware of it. It's a lot of money.
Do all of us have to be members?
That's the price for the commission. So
Oh,
if
okay. So it's
if I was going to be a member,
738 for all members.
yeah, for the
Okay,
town.
I'm with you, thank you.
That's like the town's fee.
Okay,
You don't pay
Yeah.
for me to be a member.
right, okay.
It would be another, 65 or 70 if I was a member, but
You're on the board.
I don't need different board. I'm
different
not
board.
on the board anymore.
Sure you gotta be.
I was for a time, but not anymore.
So,
Yeah, so I think last year we just had a quick conversation about, it's a lot of money. Are you guys still okay being a member and paying that amount? Did you want to send a letter that says, hey, stop raising it every 2 years or 2% every year, or everybody is good with it? The other thing to mention is they do have a lot of classes and workshops, and they have a lot of resources. Are you guys taking advantage of them? Do you guys have classes and things that they're sending you in an email that you want to take? That comes up.
That's the advantage is having the access to the professional development. I mean, right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah, so if you see classes that you're interested in, we pay for that out of our budget. You don't pay for that on your own. And including the gas mileage if it's in person. So,
they definitely put the.
take advantage of it. The the spring conference is coming up. I'm actually speaking in Group B, presenting
what topic?
vernal pools.
Arnold. Nice.
Yes, and so it's always a good day. It's in person this year again. It's at Worcester at Holy Cross. And so if you're looking for any of the fundamentals classes or any of the regular classes, you could get a lot of bang for your buck going to Worcester for a day and getting 4 classes or 2 of the fundamentals. Throwing it out there. If you're interested, let us know and we'll make sure.
When does it have to be paid?
When?
Yes.
Whatever.
Well, it takes us a while to get checks or get the organization paid. So, the sooner you know of an event, the sooner you tell us, then we can make sure they invoice us, and they invoice all towns. They know all towns take weeks to get paid. But, the sooner you know there's a class you want to take, the better. That's all.
No, the dues. Do you mean the dues? One of the
I
dues?
meant the dues.
Oh, the dues, yeah. The dues they'll come to us July 1.
We got a little time to bail. If we don't
Yeah.
know.
They let you know
Let's
this
think
early.
about that one.
Yeah, they let
Yeah, I
you
mean-
know early because, budgets are due soon and people have to plan for any budget increases, so.
What if we skipped for a year?
I'm kind of on the same boat with you, Al. I mean, not to put both of you on the spot. I said I'm kind of on the same page with you about skipping a year, but not to put both of you on the spot.
And see how much we miss. I mean, is that something that might be considered?
I mean, I have no issue with that. I mean, Al and Nate, have you?
Maybe want to wait for the whole board.
Yeah, I personally think it seems like a type of organization we want to align with, but we should probably wait for everyone to, chime in. But I would be for paying the dues, but let's see what everyone else says.
We'll just put that on
We get
another.
the other 2 characters on board?
Yeah.
Good
That's
way
what they
to
have to
put
say.
Okay, we had a couple resident complaints and questions about Wheaton Farm and Tufts Farm. So Wheaton Farm, there was a canoe tied to a tree for duck hunting. I didn't see that as an issue, but would bring it to the commission in case you had a problem with that.
I personally don't. I've gone over there recently and didn't see much of anything. The area looked clean to me, so I don't see any disturbances. Nate, now if you guys anything to add,
They just put it up while they were over there hunting and then removed it?
I think he's leaving it overnight to go back the next morning.
Oh, no comment.
Yeah, no comment as well on that one. As long as it's not there as a permanent fixture.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be. I'm over there frequently enough, so I will keep an eye on that as well. But I agree. Like a tree stand hunting, that's not something you can keep there. It's not allowed to keep there. You can't just park it there. It's not a yacht club. So I agree. That season should be ending. It's late season goose, so that should end, I think, like first week of February. I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me.
Okay.
But I'll keep my eyes up.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good. The other one was Tufts Farm. This is the second complaint that we got about a smell, and I've been there a few times with the tenant. The first time there was a little bit of a smell from the hay that they were getting, but the sheep actually don't smell as much as I would have expected. We walked the whole property boundary, just did not, just didn't see that much of a problem. There's also comments about why do they need more than 5 or 10 sheep? This is
Isn't that presumptuous?
the lease that we sent.
Yeah, I mean, he has a sign on front. You can read what he does.
Yeah, I think you all got a copy of the email.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think more, I think as they are there longer, people, it's like there might be some misconception about what it is, right? I mean, we know because we've been involved in this process, but I guess, even by reading the email, you could tell that there was just some misconception about what the sheep were there to do. I mean, they're just living there and going elsewhere to do their work, not doing their work there. But that's kind of what the understanding of the email was. So, I think the longer it's there, the, hopefully the better it'll get.
I think with the parking lots built, it becomes a little more established. And we're going through right now a tough time on that property. And it's been a wet, listen, I have chickens, and it is a hard time to deal with just, maintaining that. Can you imagine a large mammal? So I think it's just a hard time weather-wise, a hard time property-wise. And it definitely will get better. I'll personally tell you, I hike there every single morning religiously. I hunted there, around there all year round. I did not personally ever smell something. I was really surprised to hear that. So just to kind of give you guys like a firsthand, literally behind the property every day, I never smelled anything yet. So just on a good note.
And then, they're still moving in and setting things up. It's only been a few months. We just did the pavilions on Saturday, went and helped, build the pavilions for the sheep. They're almost like carports. And we got the materials for the fencing. We've got one more set of panels to buy, and then they can begin the permanent fencing. Things take time. You move into a house, you don't have all the boxes unpacked the first weekend either. Right. So, a little bit of patience, but things are looking really good and much better than, past conditions.
Right. And plus, I think his other farm in Mansfield, I believe he has no complaints of anything like that coming his way. So he's obviously doing a pretty good job. I think we're going to be all set.
In the past year, we were talking about associate members, and we were going back and forth a while about, I think Ben and Rory wanted to have a chat with some of the associate members and whether or not we were going to appoint them, and we never actually did. But the clerk is looking for that information. So maybe just tonight, because I can't go through all the minutes to find out when
do we have associate members?
There are 3 who have been associate members of the commission for a while, but last year we were going to invite them in and have a chat with them. It just never happened, so we never made the appointment or the request for an appointment. So maybe just tonight, just mention that we didn't make any recommendation for the appointment. This way I can tell her, yes, definitely. We discussed it again today.
Okay, so
Discussed.
Discussed. No recommendation.
So moved.
That's it.
Cool. All right. Is that everything? Checked it off. We're done, guys.
That is everything, unless you guys.
I'm waiting for the last motion because Nate's killing it. I know he's ready to say it.
Motion to adjourn?
I'm saying, my friend, I like it. Let's go, second. Roll call vote.
Vincent, I.
Crossman, aye.
ADI.
Okay, good job. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you
Thank
in
you.
Mike,
3 weeks.
See you soon.
Very good. Thank you.
thank you.